Hey everybody, Mr. Hamilton, YouTubing it again. Kind of sick of the sitting down, and so I'm going to try standing up for this one. Kind of brings me back to when I was at the board in front of the class. Seems like many moons ago. By the way, this is a previously recorded lesson. Saw the supermoon last night. Unbelievable. Hope you all had a chance to see that. And today is a very special day at the Hamilton household. It is Mrs. Hamilton's birthday. So, um, yeah, even though the quarantine here, the shut in has taken our toll at times on Mrs. H and Mr. H. It's a very special day, and she is unbelievable. My old hockey coach, it was a football coach. He always said, "Hamilton, you have outpunted your coverage on this one." So he's right, Mrs. H. I love you. Happy birthday. So, that being said, I am excited to teach you guys a little today about multiplying matrices. So we talked about what matrices are. This is a rectangular array of numbers, and today we're going to go through the process of multiplying them. Our last lesson, we talked about when you can multiply and when you can't. And so we're going to make sure we continue to talk about that, and then kind of show you by the end, your job is to be able to multiply matrices. So I have 3 steps off to the left here. So we'll take a look at my steps. Step 1, set the order of the product matrix. So I'll do these steps for this example. Here's the example we're looking at. So the order is, well, this one here is a 2 by 2, 2 rows, 2 columns, and this is a 2 by 2. When we talk about setting the order for the product matrix, it is looking at if these match, it's defined, this is the order. That's how many rows, and this is how many columns. So when I set the order here, I'm going to make this a matrix that has 2 rows, 2 columns. That's my product matrix. Now each of these boxes I'm going to fill in with the number. Now to find these numbers, I'm going to show you how. This goes to our next steps here. Our next steps, step 2, multiply each element in the row of the first matrix by each element in the column of the second matrix. So basically we're going to multiply these elements from matrix 1, the first row, by these elements in the second matrix. And that's why these have to be the same. That's why the rows and columns in the first matrix and row in the first matrix and columns in the next have to match. So we're going to multiply these 2 numbers and these 2 numbers. So 1 and 4, so that's going to make up for this address. 1 and 4, we're going to multiply, move this down just a little bit, by 3 and 0. We're going to make sure we do that in this order. And then the last step is we're going to add these, and that goes in this address. First row, first column. So we'll do a little mental math. This is 3, and this is 0. The sum of those is 3. Now we just repeat this for the rest. We have 3 other spots in our product matrix. Let's go up here. And to find that one, let's erase what our content here. We take first row times second column. Why? Because the address of this is first row, second column. So what does that look like? What are the numbers 1 and 4? And we're going to multiply that by 2 and negative 9, respectively. Then we're going to find the sum. So we're going to use some mental math here. This is 2, negative 36. 2 and negative 36 makes that negative 34. We're going to repeat that process. We're going to move down here. Let me erase. Back and grab my highlighter. Now we're moving down to the second row, first column. So negative 2 and 3 And we're going to multiply those by 3 and 0. And then take the sum. Do a little mental math. That's negative 6. That's 0. So this is negative 6. One more to do. Right over here. And I want to multiply this. Now I want to stay with that. Golly jeepers. Come on. I want to stay with that first row, but now I'm going to move over to the second column. So negative 2 and 3, I'm going to use those numbers again. This time I'm going to use 2 and negative 9. And then make sure I add those. So I'll do a little mental math. That's negative 4. This is negative 4. This is negative 27. Negative 31. Voila! There we go. That's how we multiply matrices. So it can take a little bit of time depending upon how much we're doing here. You can see we're finding the product of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things. And then we're trying to find the sum in between. So go slow. You don't always have to write them down like this, but it does help as you start. Especially helps if you want to start using your fingers and kind of doing the mental math and then saying the product out loud and putting your fingers on 1 and 3 and saying 3 and 0 and then add the sum before you write it down. We'll do one more example here. And let me erase our board. This one's a little bit different. It's a different matrices. I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so start by writing the dimensions. This first matrix. This is always a good step to do. This matrix is 2 rows, 4 columns. This matrix is 4 rows, 1 column. Make sure these numbers are the same. If they're the same, it's defined. This is our product matrix, a 2 by 1. So 2 rows, 1 column. Give myself a little space here. 2 rows, 1 column. Basically going to have just 2 numbers we're finding. 2 rows, 1 column. Nice. Okay, so this one here is made up. Use my highlighter. You can use your fingers here, but we take this first row and multiply it by this first column. So we can write these numbers down, or we can do these in our head. I'll write them down. 2 or 0, 2, 3, negative 1. And then we're going to take the other elements. The elements in the first column of the second matrix are minus 1, minus 4, getting a little sloppy here, 0, and 0. So that's a minus. Basically, we need to find the product of each of these and then the sum of everything. So I'm going to put addition signs in between all of these. So the product of this thing is 0. I'll say it out loud, do a little mental math. 0, negative 8, 0, 0. So this has to be negative 8. I'm going to repeat down here. We're going to now go to second row, first column. So we got 2, minus 2, 1, and minus 2, minus 1, minus 4, 0, 0. Make sure we find the sum after we find the products. So this is minus 2, this is positive 8, 0, 0. Those basically I don't have to worry about. So I just have minus 2 plus 8. That's positive 6. Voila, I'm done. So I know that's a lot to digest. Today's assignment, you're going to do multiply matrices. The first one you're going to do is it's going to all be guided. So it will actually give you these, and then you're just going to fill in the answers. You first of all have to set the order matrix, and then you do these. Now the second portion you're going to do, we mean a little practice, is you're going to do all of this on your own. So we'll guide you through it a little bit, and then we'll want you to practice just trying it on your own. So good luck. You guys are awesome. Stay with it. Let us know if you need any help. Be most importantly, wash your hands, disinfect your phones, be clean, be kind.